Hello again, and welcome to an audio-visual presentation of Chuck's Common Sense. Got a little wild hair again today, that and maybe a beer or two in me as well. We're going to talk a little bit today about what I called in my blog post a narrow win for individual liberty. The case of Jack Phillips, this fellow right here, owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop, went to the nation's highest court today. A debate over the merits of religious freedom vis-a-vis civil rights for the gay community. The result was not a slam dunk, but it was a nifty little 14-foot jump shot that went straight through the hoop, so it still counts for 2 points. Basically, here's the case. In 2013, Phillips denied, on the basis of his being a fundamental Christian, denied an offer to decorate a rainbow-themed cake for a gay couple who was planning a same-sex marriage ceremony. The couple sued. The case went before the Colorado Human Rights Commission. They ruled in favor of the gay couple and slapped some sanctions on Phillips. Phillips appealed to first to the appeals court, then to the United States Supreme Court today in a 7-2 ruling. The court upheld Phillips's appeal on one key point, we should say. Again, it was not a sweeping victory for the argument that religion trumps gay rights when it comes to these intersections of cases involving same-sex marriage. But the court did rule in Phillips's favor in his particular case, mainly because of the behavior of the Colorado Human Rights Commission. We'll get to that in a second. My joy with this ruling is twofold. First off, while it's not a sweeping victory for what I consider to be the side of individual liberty, if Phillips had lost his case, it would have been a major blow to the case of individual liberty. Now, my happiness has absolutely nothing to do with the gay community. I must live a sheltered life. All of the gay people that I know are the type that just want to live their lives quietly without being harassed. They're just like me. They would rather not have anyone meddle into their lives. I can most certainly break bread with that type of thinking. I feel most of my gay friends feel that way. I could be wrong. I don't believe I am. That having been said, I would have been worried had this case gone the other way of several outlandish scenarios, being able to use the limitless power of government to force a Muslim to cater a North Carolina pig picking, forcing a kosher deli to provide lunch for a Hitler Youth rally. How about the possibility of limitless government force legally compelling an African-American baker to produce 100 or more Burning Cross cupcakes for a Klan rally? Are these extreme examples? Of course they are. Had this case not landed like it did, though, what exactly would have prevented such outlandish scenarios? The answer is nothing, at least nothing that I can figure. The merits of this case being what they are, it was not a sweeping victory in that the court was very narrow, saying not that, no baker ever has to bake for a gay wedding, whatever. They didn't quite go that far, but they did make several specific comments about the way the Colorado commissioners handled Phillips' case in particular. Basically, the High Court, including Associate Justice Kennedy, who was the author of the Supreme Court decision upholding same-sex marriage in the first place, he was highly critical of the commissioners in Colorado, whom, best he could figure, absolutely dismissed Phillips' rights as a Christian, his religious rights. Basically, the case is about the intersection of religious rights versus the civil rights of gay couples. Something's going to have to give a little bit here. Either they bake the cake or they don't bake the cake. One way or the other, there's no way both parties, if they dig their heels in, are going to be satisfied with that outcome. It's an either-or situation. But according to Justice Kennedy, the Colorado Commission basically paid no mind to Phillips's objections based on religious grounds. One of them even went so far as to say, well, religion has been used to justify an awful lot of bad things. Holocaust, slavery, so forth, so on. So what? That is not germane to this discussion whatsoever. And it was absolutely an obscene thing to say by someone who's supposed to be a neutral arbiter of things. Anyway, Justice Kennedy pointed that out. And as a matter of fact, two of the other liberals on the court, Kagan and Breyer, joined with the majority, 7-2. Only Ginsburg and Sotomayor objected. In that, in this case, Phillips was in the right. Let's be brutally honest also. If we're going to be completely open about everything that's gone on here, this was a hit job. Phillips had gained a reputation, fame, infamy, whatever, for being quite the Orthodox Christian. He would not, in addition to gay marriage ceremonies, he would not produce anything for a second marriage. His religious beliefs extended to divorce. He did not believe in divorce. He would not decorate anything for Halloween because of his religion saw it as a pagan celebration, and he would have nothing to do. Now, do I agree with him in terms of his interpretation of Scripture? No, I do not. Do I want to tell him he's interpreting Scripture wrong? Hell no. I don't want anybody to have to do that. Sure as hell don't want to have the government be able to tell us that we're interpreting Scripture wrong. Kind of flies in the face of religious freedom. Again, I'm just trying to create a situation where someone is not legally compelled to participate in an activity that is an affront to their morality. How many times in dealing with, say, the DMV or any other government entity have we been told, we're sorry, we know these regulations are silly, they're onerous, but it's the law. I want to live in a world where we never have to hear that. I don't want to have a baker or anybody else being told they have to participate in a ceremony that they object to, regardless of whether I agree with them. Let's make it so. You've been watching and listening to Chuck's Common Sense.